If you find yourself procrastinating and dealing with perfectionism and not being able to create in the way that you want to and to express yourself and to put your work out there for other people to see, in this video, we're going to talk about the real reason that happens. We're going to go a level deeper than anything you've probably heard before. I'm going to help you see the core cause of what's holding you back and share a new perspective on how you can move forward and share your creative gifts with the world and turn them into a business that sustains you. If you've studied marketing at all, you have heard people talk about the power of identity. In fact, I heard that the CrossFit line of gyms is the fastest growing type of gym overall. And the reason is because CrossFitters are not just any normal gym goer. They are CrossFitters. They have accepted an identity by being part of that line of gyms. And as such, they are much more indoctrinated and they're not going to go to any other gym but a CrossFit gym. Marketers have really understood the power of identity more and more lately. That is why so many coaches are making things like certification programs so that you can have a new label or some letters after your name that adds to that sense of identity that you have. Identity is also the reason why we feel so polarized and we can't have a conversation with somebody if they have different political or religious views than we do, because we're both so strongly identified with our particular set of beliefs. Here's the weird thing. That identity that we have, where we would say, I'm this, I believe this, and I'm so firm about these things, it ultimately is a mind-made thing. It doesn't exist anywhere. It's only a set of thoughts that we hold to dearly. However, those thoughts can change, right? Because people's beliefs change about things and they can adopt a new identity. And when we tie this back to the promise of this video, which is to help you create that same identity that a lot of us hold so dear, is the thing that we are worried about when we are procrastinating on putting our work out there. We have an idea of who we are and who other people think we are. At the end of the day, it's fictitious. It doesn't exist. It's a set of ever-changing thoughts, but it feels real. Like we feel like the perception that other people have of us is this really important thing. And I mean, that's literally why social media is so popular and why people post trying to get likes and all this stuff. It's because these platforms are a way for us to attempt to bolster our identities. But when it comes to creating work, the reason why we procrastinate is because we are worried about making our identities vulnerable. Like if I make a post like this video, let's say you hate it and you leave me a negative comment, and then I read that comment and I'm just like, and I'm all burned up inside. The reason why I would feel that way is because I feel like the identity that I have has taken a hit. It's like a rock thrown at a car and now there's a dent in it, right? Because one person said that I was wrong. And if I identify with this content so strongly and then somebody doesn't like it, in essence, they're threatening my very existence. They're threatening my identity. And so if you create art and you make the art that you created such a serious thing that it is a part of you and it represents who you are, and if a single person doesn't like it, you are going to be crushed, then of course you're going to procrastinate and you're going to say, I'm a perfectionist, because you want it to be perfect. Because in a utopian dream, you could put out a piece of art that the whole world would see and every single person would like it. And every single person would say, yes, it is indeed perfect. Now, we of course know that that's not true and that's not possible. All art, you could look at your favorite movie and it's going to have some 1-star reviews. Same thing with your favorite book. Look up your favorite restaurant. You're like, no one could ever dislike this restaurant. There's going to be some people that dislike it. And so our identities are held so dear to us, yet they are causing a lot of our problems, including this problem around creative procrastination. In fact, I'm working on my 4th book, which hopefully will be published sometime this year, which is going to be a deep dive on what we talk about today, because I do not believe that the answer to fixing this is just to do it anyways and just push through it and don't worry about what people think. Just do it anyways. I mean, that advice, I guess it's better than nothing, but it gets thrown around all the time. And let's be honest, it doesn't really work, right? Like somebody telling you, don't worry about what anybody thinks. That doesn't really work. And here's another really crazy thing is, let's say you put your work out there and most people love it and it takes off and everybody tells you you're so awesome. What can happen is the identity that you originally had that was so scared and vulnerable and worried can then switch to being like, I'm the shit. This is all about me. This is the Brian L. Woods show, right? I'm famous now. If you've ever followed like the career of rappers like J. Cole or Drake, who can't put a single good album out now, every album they put out, every song is just like, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the shit. I was like, this is terrible. And their early stuff was like real relatable material where they were singing about girls and kids and life struggles and like coming up and hard. And like, that's the stuff that we all wanted to hear. And so their identities shifted to like, I'm so awesome. And then their careers plummeted. So the interesting thing is with this identity problem that we have as creators, if your method of fixing this is to mold and shape it and be like, I'm just gonna, get over it, the fear, and do it anyways. And then once you get some success, you've still got the identity. And now the success is going to feed it and your ego is going to get huge and your content's going to become less authentic and less genuine. And you're going to be swimming upstream just like you are now on the sidelines, and you're swimming upstream because you can't even get in the game because you're so worried about your identity being crushed. And if you read spiritual books like this one right here, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, most of this book is actually about the identity and why it's such a big problem, and how the path to inner peace and true freedom is actually to learn to go beyond it, to dissolve it. And then from that place, you can live authentically and true joy can arise. And you can create without worrying if your artwork will do well or not, because there is no identity that is attached to it either way. I wanted to share with you the way I think about this. I'm not acting like I'm spiritually enlightened. I still get burned by negative comments and think I'm great if, somebody says I am to a degree. But what I'm doing is working on just dropping that stuff. Like you have a hot potato in your hand and you just drop it. So regardless of whether someone says your work sucked or your work's amazing, it's the same reaction either way. That is the spiritual approach to creation. And I believe if we can learn to become more centered and conscious creators, the floodgates can open for us to create what we were meant to create, and to do so without fear, and also, if and when we succeed, to do so without our egos becoming enormous, because I believe that is something we also fear. It's like, what if I'm really successful? Am I going to become like so cocky and so arrogant? And we don't want to become that either. And so the idea is, instead of just trying to mold and shape the identity and the ego like it's a piece of Play-Doh and make it perfectly in the middle, what if we could just drop it all together? That's what I got for you today. If you want to learn more about this, I definitely recommend Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, and the other one, A Power of Now. They're probably the two books that have impacted me more than any other in my life. Appreciate you all being here. Thank you for listening to my rant about spirituality and business. I hope that was helpful. I'd love to know your thoughts and your experience with this in your creator journey. And I will see you in the next video.